Aliya Izetbegovic, the first president of the Presidency of Sovereign Bosnia and Herzegovina, was born on August 8, 1925 and died on October 19, 2003. During the course of his 78 years, this man endured enough blows of fate to fill several lifetimes. The life of a writer who became the most famous political prisoner in the former Yugoslavia. The life of a man who founded and led the largest political party in the history of Bosnia. The life of a statesman, war commander, and indubitably the life of the most acclaimed leader of his people in its entire history. The steep path he traveled on the descent and the ascent is one that only a truly courageous and unusually tenacious character could have taken. The biography of Aliya Izetbegovic is irrefutable proof that each of us on this earth advances along a predetermined path. Otherwise, the 21-year-old would never have ended up in prison, his dreams and plans brutally cut short. And above all, he would have avoided that bitter experience several decades later as a mature family man with a good position and 3 adult children. There is no doubt that Aliya Izetbegovic would never willingly have waged war, however necessary and just it might have been, and above all, he would never have wanted to witness such inexpressible suffering, such hardship, and the deaths of so many innocent people. However, man proposes, but God disposes. Aliya Izetbegovic came into the world in Bosanski Shamac, a small town standing where the river Bosna flows into the Sava. Nowadays, this seems highly significant, since along with Islam, that word Bosna, or Bosnia in English, was to mark his entire thinking and work. Bosanski Shamac was effectively founded in the late 19th century by Aliya Izetbegovic's forebears when they moved there from Belgrade, where following the end of Ottoman rule, they no longer felt safe to practice their faith, nor confident of the security of their property or even their very lives. The grandfather of Aliya Izetbegovic, also called Aliya, was mayor of Shamac in 1914, at the very time when the heir to the throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his pregnant wife Sophie were assassinated on orders from Belgrade. The Austrian authorities ordered prominent Serbs in Bosnia to be arrested and let it be known that there would be no official reprisals if their property was looted. A list of Serbs to be persecuted and ill-treated by decision of the supreme authorities was received in Shamac too. However, the mayor of Bosanski Shamac, Aliya Izetbegovic, protected the lives and property of his Orthodox neighbors at the expense of his own liberty. This gesture by a truly honorable man had immense repercussions. 30 years later, it was to be the salvation of our Aliya Izetbegovic when in the summer of 1944 he took cover in a relative's house in Shamac to avoid being called up into the Ustasha army. One day he was discovered there by Chetniks, who would certainly have killed him if a prominent local Serb had not recounted the events of 1914 to their commanding officer. Thanks to his grandfather's humane action, the young Aliya escaped death. In 1927, the Izetbegovics moved from Shamac to Sarajevo after his father Mustafa, who until then had been a well-to-do tradesman, was cheated by his partner and lost the bulk of the family property. As it would turn out, this loss was compensated for by a major gain. If they had not come to Sarajevo, Aliya and his brothers and sisters would probably have received only primary school education. As it was, they graduated from high school in the big city and became their own masters. Within the family, the relationships were patriarchal. though certainly more democratic than was the rule at that time. In Mustafa and Hiba Izetbegovic's home, the children were free to make their own judgment, to express their convictions without fear, and to make their own choices.
Prema majci sam osjećao veliku ljubav, a prema ocu imao veliko poštovanje.
In Sarajevo, between the two world wars, people spent more time at home in their own courtyards than they did in the streets and cafes. It was no wonder, then, that a young man inclined as he was to contemplation spent hours day and night poring over books dealing with the spiritual condition of the times.
Ja znam da sam, recimo, u 18. godini pročitao skoro kompletnu tadašnju europsku filozofiju. Znam da sam tada, recimo, pročitao Kantovu kritiku čistog uma, pročitao poznato veliko djelo Špenglerovo Propast zapada u 2 toma, po 400-500 strana, pročitao Bergsonovu stvaralačku evoluciju, relativno dosta teške tekstove. Nije mi bilo ni tada ni punio 18 godina, možda jedan dio toga sam čitao i u 19. godini nakon mature.
His intellectual curiosity and breadth of vision, which grew after each book he read, and the subversive reality of the war raging in Europe, prompted the young Izetbegovic to seek a way out of the miserable situation of Muslim countries, all of them colonized by the West. He regularly met with some of his peers and others of like mind to discuss the causes of the stagnation of the Islamic cultural world and the chances of a renaissance of Islamic society. They spontaneously dubbed themselves the Young Muslims.
Ova grupa ljudi, to su bili budući ljekari, inženjeri, davali su jedan novi pogled na islam. Meni vrlo blizak i prijemčiv. Ja sam pristupio toj grupi i mislim da se nikad od nje više nisam odvojio. To je nešto što je pokušavala da postane organizacija i nije nikad to, po mom mišljenju, nikada nije u cijelosti to postalo. Bio je to stalno jedan pokret ljudi koji su prilazili, jedno vrijeme išli s njime, otpadali od njega, pridruživali se drugi ljudi. Ako bih htio da odredim opću orijentaciju pokreta Mladi muslimani, mogao bih da kažem da je ona bila antifašistička i istovremeno antikomunistička.
Following the logic of the totalitarian slogan, "Whoever is not with us is against us," the regime's iron hand descended on these young people, intoxicated with the idea of turning the ethical potential of Islam to use for the human and material advancement of humankind.
Ja sam uhapšen bio 1. marta 1946. godine sa još grupom od 14 do 15 svojih istomišljenika i osuđen sam bio na 3 godine zatvora koje sam potpuno u cijelosti izdržao.
The repression continued unabated during the next 2 years. Almost 1,000 high school and university students ended up in prison in the attack on supposed enemies from the ranks of the so-called Muslim reaction, accused of belonging to a subversive organization. These innocent youths were sentenced to more than 1,000 years imprisonment, and 13 of them were executed. It is possible that within a few years the State Security Service would have eradicated the entire young Muslims' intelligentsia, but for the Inform Bureau resolution of June 1948, which was Stalin's vicious attack on Tito for no longer bowing to Moscow's dictates. Quite a few party cadres responded to the Inform Bureau proclamation to Yugoslavia's communists to topple the revisionist clique headed by the Josip Broz Tito. This prompted official Belgrade into showdown between the entire state police forces and the Inform Bureau supporters, which had an undesirable consequence for the authorities. It saved the lives of many Muslim intellectuals. Aliya Izetbegovic spent 3 years hard labor behind bars in Zenica, Sokolac, the Boračko Lake, Sarajevo and Belje, far off on the border with Hungary. He was 24 when he emerged from prison. Despite his bitter experience of incarceration, he did not shrink from society, nor was he overwhelmed by fear, even though he was followed at every step by the malign eyes of the regime's spies. Not long after returning home, he married his beloved girlfriend, Halida, who would remain his loyal companion to the very end, through all the trials and misfortunes that were to haunt them. Just at the time he was released from prison, the university was founded in Sarajevo, and Aliya Izetbegovic enrolled to study agriculture. He passed his mission in fulfilling his duties as husband and father of 3 small children. Aliya Izetbegovic completed a 4-year course in just 2 years. He took a job as a legal advisor in a major construction company. But the unpredictable finger of fate intruded, and instead of our law graduate and a member of the Bar Council working as an officer of the court, he spent 4 years in charge of works for the construction of the Peručac hydropower plant in Montenegro. Despite his extensive professional duties, Aliya continued reading, deepening his understanding of the condition of Islamic countries. He wrote various newspaper articles and theoretical essays on the subject, which aroused considerable interest on account of their perceptive analysis and elegance of style. As a result, the political police kept a close watch on him. His Islamic declaration, which had not even been published, and which was utterly innocuous from the political point of view, resulted in Izetbegovic's arrest at dawn on March 20. This draconian sentence provoked a wave of criticism both in the former Yugoslavia and abroad. Understanding, as he did, the spirit and philosophy of law, it was abundantly obvious to Aliya Izetbegovic that it was the state's mindless, violent expression of a panicky regime, clearly foreshadowing the beginning of the end for the communist authorities. While he was languishing behind bars in Foča prison, his wife and children remained unshakably loyal to him. Though living in straitened circumstances, along with all their other troubles, his daughters and son did not miss a single one of the visits they were allowed, nor did they pass up a single opportunity of writing to him. My dear Daddy, I have missed you so much, and am counting the days to our next visit, though it will again go by in a flash, and as we leave the prison, we shall feel as though we have been cheated. I hope that we shall have 2 hours again this time, so that I can at least look my fill at you. I am listening to the rain, falling in big drops. Your granddaughter Najica is breathing deeply and sleeping gently in my lap. Some people say she looks like you, your eyes, your forehead. And I love both of you so much. The thing that gives me the greatest pleasure at work is when someone asks me, what relation is Aliya Izetbegovic to you? And I say, my father. This sustains me for days. Your Sabina. My dearest Daddy, I have been thinking about you these days. You have preserved your reputation, and when needed you behaved like a true man. It's a bit silly to coin phrases, but it's time I told you that we are proud of you and that you could have done nothing greater or better for us. Don't worry about the mistake people make when they associate you with nationalism and other untruths. The truth about you can be seen even more clearly against a dark background. In any case, do not get upset or worry too much. All you need to know is that as long as the 3 of us are alive, we shall keep on talking and thinking about this. We shall not rest until you come back to us, my dear, sweet Daddy. Love from your son Bakir. Dear Daddy, I am planting flowers on the balcony and a thought just flashed through my mind. Perhaps you'll see them before they fade. I'm looking at the new armchair and imagining you sitting there, automatically hitching up your trouser legs and looking at us in that warm way of yours. I include your face with its heartfelt smile in all my plans. Apart from this, everything that is happening, all the beauty of life has faded and will blossom again only when I can believe in love and justice in this world. I cannot fend off the thoughts that besiege me day after day. My father, a man everyone respected and loved, has been sentenced in this society to 14 years in jail. Lots of love from your Leyla. Aliya Izetbegovic did not serve 14 years, but 5.5. But even those 5.5 years lasted an interminable 2,075 days and 2,075 nights, 50,000 hours, or 3 million minutes. And in prison, as it was then, the years were not as long as the months, the days, and above all, the hours. Even a minute can be unendurably long, especially to one who never even had an evil thought, let alone doing an evil deed. Aliya Izetbegovic was released from prison in Foča during the 1988 November holidays. Aliya Izetbegovic's next 15 years belonged not to him, but to Bosnia, and the most turbulent period in its 1,000-year history.
Bağımsız Bosna Hersek Devleti'nin 1. Cumhurbaşkanı Aliya Izetbegovic 8 Ağustos 1925 yılında doğdu. 19 Ekim 2003 tarihinde vefat etti. Hayatının 78 yıllık yaşamına birkaç ömürlük olay sığdırabilen nadir liderler arasındadır. Örneğin, sonradan eski Yugoslavya'nın en ünlü siyasi mahkumu olan bir yazarın hayatı, Bosna tarihinin en geniş siyasi partisinin kurucusu ve liderinin hayatı, bir devlet adamının hayatı, ordu komutanı ve şüphesiz halkının tarihi boyunca en önemli önderi ve benzeri tek bir insanın hayatına sığınmış hayatlardan